Excellent. Morning, Danny. Nice
Morning.
to talk to you. Just how frustrating have the last couple of months been for you trying to get past this injury?
Yeah, it has been it's been a long time coming to get back on the pitch. It seems to have taken forever, but we're over that stage now, and we've got to look forward.
Yeah, and just one thing after another, because the injury, and then you were ill last week as well, weren't you?
I know, yeah. It all seems to come at once, but yeah, no, I'm feeling good now, and I'm ready to go.
An interesting couple of months. So obviously, we've not had a chance to speak to you since Neil Warnock moved on, and it's no secret how big a fan of yours he was. How difficult have you found that transition, just getting used to somebody new in charge again?
I think being around football a long time, I've gone through a lot of manager changes, so you know what to expect, and so it's obviously disappointing to see the gaffer go, but these things happen in football, and you've got to move on.
Does it make it that little bit more tricky when it's somebody that clearly you were very close to?
I mean, obviously, when you build up a good relationship with the manager, it's always frustrating to see him go. But like I said before, I've been through it so many times in my career, and obviously I was down at Cardiff when the manager left and a new manager came in, so I knew what to expect.
Yeah. Do you keep in touch with him at all?
Yeah, I've not spoken to him for a while, to be fair, but on and off through my career, I've kept in touch with him.
Moving on then, how different is it working under Darren more than it was working under Neil Warnock? Are they very different approaches as coaches?
Yeah, I think it's a completely different style, to be honest. But if we can get the performances and the results like the other night, it's something the lads are going to be really enjoying.
It was a great performance and a great win against Sunderland. It felt like kind of a potentially pivotal result in the season. Did it feel like that to you as players as well?
There's the old cliche of one game at a time and stuff, but it was definitely good performance by the lads. We had a few good chances to get some more goals, but towards the end, you've got people throwing their bodies in the way of shots, and I thought Maxi was brilliant in goal. And if we can carry on with them performances, I think we'll be in a good place.
As you say, it's momentum, isn't it? Hopefully stringing a few results together, and this league is crackers. If you can beat anybody at the end of the day, can't you? So if you can string a few results together, it can very quickly look like a very different table.
Yeah, it can. Obviously, seen that with Middlesbrough. They were obviously struggling at the start of the season, put a few good results together, and they're in a good place. And like I say, if we can do that now, and coming into the Christmas period with the games coming thick and fast, if we can get if we can get a couple of good results, it puts us right up the table.
One of the big talking points over the last couple of months is where the goals are coming from. Inevitably, that kind of falls your way as one of the more experienced frontmen available and fit in the team. Do you kind of feel that weight of expectation that you're being seen as the guy that's going to deliver the goals this season?
Yeah, it is obviously that weight of expectation, but I've been around long enough to know that you can't really think about that too much, because it plays on your mind, and then you start going into games, and you get the chances and you start snatching at stuff. But to be fair, as long as Misha keeps scoring goals, I think we'll be all right.
No, that's it. You're vying with him for top scorer this season. He keeps popping up with them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Long may it continue as well. Remember Matty Pearson's first season when he was banging the goals in. It wasn't letting me live it down that obviously he was top goal scorer, and Misha's doing exactly the same now. So hopefully I can change that.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be catching them up soon. In terms of service, there's so many great players around you at the top end of the pitch. You've got the likes of Josh Koroma, Bergsorg, Sorba Thomas. What do you need from them in an ideal world then to make sure that you can get those goals that you're so keen to get?
I think it's just creating the chances. I think the other night I thought we had some good opportunities in some good areas to create good goal scoring chances. So if we could keep playing like we are doing and keep being on the front foot and attacking, I think the chances will come.
And in terms of the other strikers around you, Harrod, Hudlin, unfortunately injured at the moment, but what advice would you give to them when their opportunities come?
Just like I said before, not obviously at the moment we're not scoring loads of goals. Don't be worrying about it. Don't be putting pressure on yourself, because like I said before, when them chances come, you start to snatch at things, and and you kind of not lose your striker's sort of instinct, but it affects the way you play.
Are you just desperate to get that first one now that you're back and available, no matter how it goes in, just to kind of set the ball rolling again?
Yeah, like I say, just want to come off my backside or anything. Just any goal. Yeah, it's once you get that first goal, I think it does sort of relieve a little bit of pressure. Yeah.
Well, good to have you back. Good luck this weekend.
Cheers,
Thanks,
thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. If we come to Stephen now.
Hi, Danny.
Hi.
Good to have you back. We saw obviously you came on the other day and helped relieve some of the pressure because obviously the team went ahead just before you came on. You helped relieve some of the pressure with that press out the field. That's a part of the game you seem to enjoy, isn't it?
Enjoy is a strong word. No, it's one of them things that you need to, that in that striker role you need to do. It's hard work, but it can be very beneficial from the team, just stopping them getting any momentum in the game.
I think we're sort of starting to see the last few games that kind of hard work can go a long way. You know, we've seen some improvement from some emerging players like Ben Jackson. Have you been seeing that on the training ground, watching from the training you've been involved in?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jacko's been with us a couple of years now, and I can definitely see it. Obviously, growing in confidence. I think that's massive for Jacko. And I thought the other night, it was brilliant.
Gaffer's had to go a bit defensive the past few games, but we're starting to see it sort of starting to become a bit more, at least counter-attacking. And he was suggesting the other day he wants it to keep going that way, becoming a bit more attacking. Has he spoken to you about your role in helping that transition?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're going to play like that, your striker's important to a lot of the time start the attacks. If we win the ball, and you need to be available to receive it and get us up the pitch as quick as we can. And obviously, I think the other night I thought it worked very well. Obviously, Sunderland had a lot of the ball, but the way we defended, I thought was excellent. And on the counter, I thought we created some good stuff.
It's a long way to go after a game on Wednesday night to go to Swansea. I'm sure you're setting off shortly, but. You're going to have to get used to it over this period, aren't you? So it's a lot of games. Do you feel up to it both individually, personally, and also as a group?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the lads have been around it a long time, so they've been through the Christmas period. It's games come thick and fast, but sometimes, if you're coming off a result the other night, it's good to go into another game and carry that confidence forward. So if the results and the performances are like the other night, I think we'll be in a good place.
That's all from me. Best of luck.
Cheers.
Cheers, Stephen. And then just Liam to finish off.
Hiya, Danny.
Hi,
okay, mate. Yeah, I was sort of thinking about your game. How's it sort of changed over? Yeah, it's probably a different way that you play now as a forward than probably 7 or 8 years ago. It's a different sort of role for you, isn't it? Really, I mean, obviously you chip it with goals, but it's more of a team role in it now, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of hard work as a lone striker that you've got to do. It's important for the team. It's obviously completely different than playing as a two. Maybe don't get as many chances as you would do, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the the challenge of that lone striker role, and helping create or start attacks that might lead to a goal. So it's just as important.
You must have a right spell, because people say, "Oh, goals, this and that," but there's so much more to it in that role, isn't it? It's a bit of an unfair stick to sort of beat forward with.
It is, but it's. I know that there's more to the striker role than just obviously scoring goals, because if we can I said before, start attacks which leads to a goal for one of the wingers, even one of the defenders, it's just as important. So it's one thing that doesn't really bother me.
You can describe you now at this stage of your career. You're a leader in that role you play. Which sort of when you were coming through and at other clubs, is there any sort of influences who you learn off and help you along the way, or toughen you up or whatever? Or?
I'm trying to think really. A lot of the older lads that I've played with before in other teams have been in sort of different positions. Like when I was at Swindon, like Jonathan Douglas and centre midfielder and people like that. So it's not. I'm trying to think really. remember big Alan Lee first time round when I was at Huddersfield. Obviously he was a striker, but I was
Yeah.
playing more on the left hand side. But just to have played with people with that experience and stuff has really helped me.
Yeah, because Alan Lee, I watched a bit of him at Rotherham in his early days. He a bit like yourself. He sort of changed his game, became target man if you like later on in his career, and bringing others into play, that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously every striker wants to be up there scoring the goals every week.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to enjoy that other side of the game. It's because it can be so important, so crucial for the team, and it's it's something I enjoy doing.
And obviously the team had a tough one recently, a great result the other day, and I suppose as a group of players you can all really keep it in perspective. You obviously got a bit of stick last season, but you terrific character, and it seems as a group you can block out all that noise and you can just sort of focus on yourself really, because you've got a hell of a lot in that dressing room.
Yeah, well, exactly just what you said there. We've got some great talent in the dressing room, and it's showed in moments this year. With people popping up with a bit of individual brilliance and stuff. So it's we know what's in the dressing room. We know what we're capable of. So you're always going to get some stick in football. It's it happens, but we're confident with the dressing room. We know what we've got, and we believe in the team.
Do you just blank it out? Don't bother with social media, all that sort of thing, and just
no, it's never really been my thing, to be honest. And then a lot of that here about it is never good, so I thought there's no point going on it.
Yeah, good point. I was going to say finally, great for yourself. You're back in the first team. There's a run of games, to Christmas, and it's a great time to be a footballer, isn't it? Really, it's a time when you don't want to be, especially when you don't want to be injured. You want to be out there. Yeah,
and it's obviously good for the team to have as many people available, because with the games coming thick and fast, you need the whole squad. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, best of luck, Danny. I hope it goes well.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cool. Right, Catherine, thank you for your patience. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
No problem. Good morning, Darren. Good to talk to you. Some reflections on the win at Sunderland, first of all. Just how pleased were you to take all 3 points from that game?
Yeah, no, we was really pleased to take the 3 points because obviously we value Sunderland are a good team. We know their home record's an exceptional one there. So to go up there, we know that the group of players had to perform, and we had a good performance from the team. Individually across the pitch and collectively, and even when the subs come on, I thought they contributed to the game, which meant 3 valuable points for us. So we're really pleased to get them.
It feels like it could be quite an important win, and when we look back at the end of the season, could potentially be quite a pivotal one. Does it feel the same to you?
You'd probably, time will tell, Catherine. To be honest with you, when we look back on it, I think we're just focusing on the here and now. And I think that's the main thing for the players, is just to keep focusing on the here and now, and that's all we've tried to do is continue to keep working hard in training, keep trying to implement good ideas and good practice in training, and trying to implement those ideas and replicate them when it comes to a game, and trying to be seen to do the right things. And I think the group have demonstrated that, not just on the game on the other night, but there's the process in terms of where they've been at. They've been showing signs of that, really, and they need to continue doing that and need to continue stretching themselves further, because we need that in terms of if we are going to get results, because we're in an excellent league, a competitive league. Each game you come up against is very, very different, and each game has its own problems, and each game has its hurdles that you have to try and problem solve and overcome them, and that's what we face with week in, week out, really. And Wednesday night was no different.
With that in mind, then, are you expecting tomorrow's trip to Swansea to be very different to the game at Sunderland?
Yeah, it is different because they're a different team, a different unit to what we faced on Wednesday night. Different ideas, so we expect it to be a different game again, and that's why we approach games and we isolate games singly, really, because I think if you look too far ahead, I think you can come unstuck with the here and now. So that's where we as a group will focus on that. Whilst we are happy to get the 3 points at Sunderland, the group are very, very much back on the ground, feet back on the floor, and getting ready for another tough game down in Wales tomorrow.
What sort of team do you think Swansea are this season then?
Well, since Michael's took over and that, obviously there's a Swansea way, and obviously since Michael's gone in there, he's applying his principles to that way as well, and showing a real combination of both, really. They're a team as well that's been in transition. They've got some wonderful ideas, and we see some magnificent patterns of play that they've been adopting against opposition this season. And on their own ground again, they're a strong unit again in terms of how they're going about it, and they've got players that are very effective in areas of the pitch that can hurt you. So again, it's going to be a game that we're going to have to be really focused and detailed with our work, and be prepared again for another tough game. But again, Catherine, with this group of players, and as I said, I've not put a ceiling on them this season in terms of, keep stretching them, keep building, looking to get better. And I think that's always been our focus and our goal. And again, on Saturday, it's another test for us, but a test that we look forward to.
And no reason to think that you can't go there again and take 3 points.
No, whenever you play a game, what's at the end of that game is 3 points for both teams. So we're no different to any team, or we're no different to when we approach any game. We know what's at stake. That never changes, really. So it's about just trying to set up and making sure that in between that your work's as best and as clean as it can be. And then when you get to the Saturday, or whenever asked to play, you're ready to perform. And certainly when we get down there tomorrow, the group of players have got to be ready to perform in another arena where it's a wonderful place to go and play football and up against good opposition. So because you're up against good opposition, it means that ultimately you're going to have to be good to come away with a result.
Team news-wise, how's the squad looking? Have you got any players again coming back for this weekend?
We've got a training session. Obviously, upon doing this press, we've got a training session after this, which we were able to check on one or two. So I can only say hopefully, but at the moment we've got a training session, so we'll see how the group responds, and then we'll go from there.
I think the only player that was definitely out on Wednesday was Kian Harrah. Is he back potentially in the frame, or can you again still rule him out at the moment?
Yeah, no, Catherine, we're going to rule him out. He's going to be out for some time because he sustained the injury against Southampton. So he's one definitely that will not play any football for the rest of this year, not season, this year. So he's a long-term injury now.
That's a shame. What's he done? Because I think it's some kind of muscle injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll just keep it at it's a muscle injury sustained in the game, and he's going to be out for some time. As I said, he won't play this side of this year now, and we look forward to his return at some point in the new year.
Yeah, that is a real shame. On the plus side, you do have Danny Ward back and available. We've just spoken to him. He's delighted to be back and available to you again. Just how big an impact potentially can his return have on your team?
No, we're really pleased to have Danny back, especially, with receiving the news with where Kian's at. To have somebody of Wardy's ilk back into the group has been excellent, really, with his experience and his know-how. Can only add to the group, and we was pleased on Wednesday night to give him some sufficient minutes upon his return. As I said, his return could have been a little bit more earlier, but upon the Southampton game, he went down with a bit of illness, sort of 24 hours prior to the game. So we missed him for the Southampton game, but he was able to come back for the game against Sunderland in midweek, and he continues his build-up, and hopefully, all being well, he'll be involved again tomorrow.
What is his remit when he's on the pitch? Because do you look to him as being your out-and-out goal scorer? Obviously, he does so much work off the ball, providing for others as well. So what do you want to see from Danny Ward?
No, Danny's not, obviously, with his position, everybody will look on him as a goal scorer. But the way I look at it, Catherine, is that we score goals from all over the pitch. It's not just left to what you deem your strikers, even though you want them to score goals. Of course you do. But he's our target man. He links the play. He carries a threat for the opposition defences, as well as doing the what you call probably the dirty work off the ball in terms of what he does for the team. So he does all that in abundance, really, but also his experience and know-how for this group of players is vital, really, to have somebody of his ilk. He knows his way around the pitch. He's had a good career to date, and we want that to continue. So to have somebody of his ilk to come back in, we look at Danny as an all-round, really, even though people may look at him and think he's a goal scorer. Yes, he is, but there's so much other areas that he contributes to the team.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow, Darren.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. We'll see you there. We'll go to Stephen Chicken from We Are Terriers.
Yeah, no longer Yorkshire Live. Hi, Darren.
Hello, Stephen.
Fantasy. We spoke to Kevin Nagle overnight, and he has expressed his support for you and the job you've done, acknowledged the difficulties you've had. It must be good, I presume, as a manager to know that you have the backing of the chairman like that.
Yeah, no, I'm really grateful to have the backing of the chairman, and sort of being the owner of the football club is really good and important to have the backing of the chairman. We are, along with the chairman, Jake, Mark Cartwright, Lee Mabry, we're all working together to move Huddersfield Town in the right direction. And whilst outside of this, people may not see the work, what's going on inside the football club, we are working extremely hard to continue to move this club in the right direction. And though we may look on it on the football pitch, there's loads of areas at this football club that we're looking to progress and move forward. Stephen and obviously the chairman is the main catalyst with that, and his aspirations for the football club has been implemented into us all, and we're just all on the same page in trying to move this football club forward. So for me, it's nice to have that, but you know, upon arriving at the football club, there was that support, and that continued support is valuable, really.
Part of the project that you talk about will involve bringing new players in. You did mention that you're already starting to look at the January transfer window. Is there much to share at this stage, or is it just a case of seeing what's available and making tentative inquiries at this stage?
Yeah, and that's exactly where we are. Conversations have started. Conversations have started with other parties in terms of going forward, and that's the process that happens now. And should the opportunity present us to bring in a particular player or players that improves the team, then we'll do so in terms of that going forward. So those bits and pieces are being looked upon now, and those talks will be ongoing in terms of looking at when that January window comes. As giving you anything with any solid information, then we know at this moment things can, 24 hours in football is a long time.
The belief must be up again. You know, we talked about the belief involved in coming back to get that point against Southampton. Obviously, you go in, you concede just before half-time the other night and have to take the lead again. It must have the lads, you know, must make your job a lot easier on the training ground when you've had experiences like that this week.
Yeah, and again, for me, it's a matter of you know, Stephen, when I look at the group, it's continuing to work with them on a day-to-day basis, individually, having one-on-one meetings with them, and doing some work on the training ground. And when they have suffered what you deem a setback in a game, they've showed the characteristics to come back into the game, and they've certainly showed that over the last couple of games. And we must continue on that. You know, obviously you don't want to face them setbacks, but you know, it's nice to know that you've got an ingredient in the team that if they are facing setbacks, that they're able to look forward and continue to move forward. And we've seen that in elements, which is a good ingredient to have. And you will express that more in the players as they continue to move forward. It's important that we don't stand still where we are. We just continue moving forward, and you know, we keep squeezing every single day as a group to want to be better, need to be better in order to continue. If we are to keep those positive results coming, it's been a start, but we'll look on it as a start because of the results. But the start's been a long time, and in order to obtain results that we have obtained in the last couple of games, it don't just come overnight, really. I think there's a process that's happening. There's a process that needs to go forward, and that's what we continue to do, is keep working on it. And we know in terms of where we are, Stephen, is that there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of good work to be done. So there's still a lot of work for us to learn and to continue to do in order to move forward, and that's what we'll continue to do.
I think you sort of alluded to it the other day after the game, but I presume a lot of that is the work in possession, maybe bringing a bit of calm, try to have a bit more control over games, and be maybe a little bit less reliant on the counter-attack and having to endure the opposition quite so long.
Yeah, that's one aspect of us what we're looking at in terms of maintaining and having a fair share in terms of the possession of the ball. Really, I think that's where we can get better and need to get better. That's probably one area, and we'll work on that, and we'll continue to work on that in terms of going forward. But you know, you got to take large aspects of the opposition as well, really, in terms of, you know, where they are and where they are in their journey. We've just got to appreciate where we're at in our journey, very much at the start of our journey. So there's so many aspects of our game that we want to increase and get better and need to get better at. And that was something that, you know, with the return of 1 or 2 players that we got coming off the table will help the team with that, because you'll end up getting sort of round pegs in round holes, where there's more of a natural ability to the team and a natural shape to the team, which helps that as well, really. So all that coinciding it, those are areas, or one particular area that we want to get better at.
That's all for me. Best luck for tomorrow.
Cheers, Stephen.
Stephen, and we'll finally come to Leon from the Yorkshire Post. Good morning.
Morning. Hiya, Darren. You okay?
Yes, Leon.
Yeah, you probably think it's a funny old world. You were competing against Michael at Wembley. Just however long it is, it proves that things can change in football, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Leon, and yeah, I didn't quite think of it like that, but you are spot on, because obviously not so long ago we was both at Wembley with our respective clubs. So yeah, you know, as I said, with Duffers, he's everywhere he's gone, he showcased good work, and I'm no doubt that you know, he's implementing the good work at Swansea as well, really, as he's moving that club forward.
It shows the value of patience, doesn't it, Darren? You mentioned he's gone into Swansea, they played a certain way, he's trying to bring his own style in. You've gone into Huddersfield, and you know, you've had difficulties with injuries, this, that and the other, and form, and it just takes time to get the way you want to play, doesn't it? There's games are coming thick and fast, and it'll only happen in things will only evolve in time, won't they? Yeah,
I mean, and again, you know, sometimes when you look at probably one of the analogies which I said, like, you know, sometimes when you get a plant and you put the seed in soil, water, bit of sunlight, and that it takes time, and Leon, for that plant to show its true worth. And it's probably an analogy with football, when you take over a team and a football club and it's all new, and there's so many different departments that have to align. You want to quickly align those departments, and that's what we're doing at this football club in terms of the work, and we consistently continue to work at it. And even though we've got the 2 positive results this week, me as the manager and seeing the group of players know that there's more to do, and more needs doing, and more has to be done, and we don't rest back on our laurels in terms of what's been achieved thus far this week, but we continue to work hard. We continue to try and overcome those little bumps in the road that we're going to face and have, and it's all part of the process when you are moving and going forward, and we understand that. But what we need to do is keep maintaining as a group of people and a group of players, staff, and that in maintaining and keeping our standards, keep pushing and stretching those standards in order to get those results, and that's what we have to continue doing, and that's the work that's been implemented now as we speak now, and has been just previous to this interview, you know. So, and we need to keep going, Leon.
This turnaround Wednesday night to Saturday with a long away, so that's probably as hard as it gets, and sort of managing everything in this block of games. Everything's just got to be spot on, hasn't it? You know, you've got to get the recovery times right. If you're managing players coming back from injury, the minutes right, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, and for me, it will tell me a lot of things for a manager, really, for me today in this week in managing the 3 games, and seeing the group of players and where they're at. So for me, as a manager, I'm looking at, yes, the work's good, the work's detailed, yes, we're travelling, yes, we're focused for the game and detail and everything else. But once the game's been and contested, you know, when you look back and analyse the week, it'll tell me a lot, really, with the group of players and where we are. So that's another thing for me in terms of ticking a box when we evaluate the week going forward, and seeing the group of players. The players have dusted themselves down. It's a quick turnaround for the game, and come tomorrow they've got to be ready to perform and perform to the highest level, really, irrespective of what group of players are selected to play for the football club. So those are things that I look at in terms of once we've debriefed and analysed the game tomorrow, and then just going forward. and I think that's important again for a learning, a development process in moving forward.
I've just got a couple of quick ones. David Kasuma on about managing players. Obviously, he's had problems, hamstring injuries, and this and that. How do you sort of manage that? Because you must be desperate for him not to sort of have a reoccurrence or anything like that. And he's shown his value to the team certainly in the last 2 games. Yeah,
and that's something that I've got to look at and discuss with the medical and sports science team, and look at him, because again, he's somebody that we look at in terms of where he's been at, and his value for the teams is there for all to see, really. And his value's there for the team. That, you know, we spoke about David in terms of the role that he's played defensively for the team, and where he's played the last couple of games, and where I've seen him for the team, and how he can contribute for the team, and he's contributed very, very well for the team from that area. So he's certainly, if we're talking as an individual, but right across the board, really, there's other individuals that we look at as well in terms of where they're at, and that's why I speak about in terms of where we'll after this 3-game week in a short space of time, where we'll be, Leon.
I was just going to ask you finally, I know you don't like to talk about individual, but I was going to, you know, Matty Pearson, I look at him, you brought him out the side after the Cardiff game. He was a sub at Leeds, and, you know, him amongst a few others, you know, the response has been terrific personally from him, hasn't it? You know, he's played he probably had a little bit of blow to his pride, and he's reacted in the best possible way.
Yes, Leon, and that's good testament and detail to yourself for seeing that. So, but Matty has, you know, I know what Matty is a player. Matty, don't mind me saying this, but he does what he says on the tin in terms of his attitude. He's a man's man, Matty is. But what a great individual as a human being. Straight talking, straight up and at you, no nonsense, which is Matty. But also, I've seen things in Matty that there's improvements going on with Matty at the moment in his game, both in possession and out of possession of the ball, which is valuable for the team. And he's been somebody, again, I don't like to single out, but because you've mentioned him, he's certainly shown a level of consistency to his game, which has been excellent, and that's what we want from our players, is somebody, again, to push on, and whenever we get individual players showing a high level of performance, it can only accumulate to the team doing well. What we have seen, if you're breaking down some of the lads' games, is that individually they've been performing to a level, and ultimately that's going to culminate to the team doing well. And what we need to do is the players need to continue doing that. And if you get individuals performing at the highest level, then collectively as a group can only mean one thing, and that's ultimately what's been going on. And we speak about Matty as an individual. You know, we spoke about Jacko the other week. We've spoken about Sorba. You know, all of a sudden you're starting to accumulate these individuals with high level of performances. It means the team's only going to go one way. What those have to do individually in the group as a collective needs to continue that and showing that high level of performance going forward.
Yeah, best of luck and safe trip down.
Thanks, Catherine, Stephen, Leon.
You, Stephen.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you on Saturday.